Kamran Ghasempour has a problem. He, simply put, has too much muscle. Well, then he's Iranian, but I'll get at why that's relevant later. Generally speaking, though, to get back to the opening statement, too much muscle feels like a good problem to have for the vast majority of people. After all, everybody wants to get more muscle, everybody wants to be bigger. That's why steroids are so popular among teenagers these days. That's why gyms are constantly full. But Kamran Ghasempour is no ordinary person, and for him and his circumstances, it is a big issue. And though he managed the medal at the 2025 World Championships at 86 kilos, I think it is clear that he is far from his best, and the amount of muscle he has on his frame is a large part of the problem. But first, setting the stage, or at least explaining why Ghasempour is down at 86 kilos as opposed to 92 kilos. Last year, Ghasempour competed at the 2024 Non-Olympic World Championships, and due to a combination of criminally terrible random seeding, pure distilled devil magic, and not being a generational talent, Ghasempour walked away from the 92 kilo weight class empty-handed. I wrote a lot more on this tournament and the circumstances surrounding and preceding it, but kind of doesn't really relevant. But what is relevant is that around this time, Hassan Yazdani, Iran's wrestling golden boy, Olympic champion and 3-time world champion, and also coming off Olympic silver at Paris, publicly stated that after his shoulder surgery, he would not be returning to 86 kilos and would move up to 92 kilos. And after not medaling at the 92 kilo weight class last year, the Iranian Wrestling Federation will undeniably pick Yazdani to wrestle at 92 kilos over Ghasempour. So in order to wrestle at Worlds for the foreseeable future, Ghasempour had two choices: up to 97 kilos or down to 86. In 97, there's Asapira, who's coming off an Olympic bronze. So even though Yazdani wasn't going to be at 125 Worlds due to his shoulder injury, Ghasempour decided to cut down to 86 kilos anyways to prep for the years to come. Given his world level success, he was the clear favorite to win the whole thing, even given the cut. And he showed up absolutely shredded, to the point you could even see his shoulder striations. But that's the problem. The cut was hard. He breezed through the first two rounds, even getting some highlight reel material along the way. But then he barely managed to beat Ibrahim Kadiev, a man who has never medaled at the world level, in a 5-4 comeback victory. But no matter how close it was, Ghasempour managed to come out on top to make it to the semifinal versus Zahid Valencia. This was undeniably the match of the weight class. World champion at 92 kilos versus world medalist at 92 kilos. It was time to show why he adorned the name of King Kamran. The match wasn't remotely competitive. Zahid was just as big and strong as Ghasempour was, and so much faster. Zahid was quick enough to finish his takedowns from low singles, and quick enough to defend from Ghasempour's attacks. By the end, Ghasempour was down 7-0, and after a desperation shot that Valencia avoided, he was absolutely gassed. He looked over to his coach only to see the despair on his face mirrored by his coaches, and gave up with 15 seconds left. Valencia had completely broken Ghasempour in a way that nobody else had been able to, not even Sadulayev. I don't think that Ghasempour was a quitter. I just think that he was beyond exhausted, and also think that General Patton was right. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. And that was that. The crown had been taken off of King Kamran. And while Ghasempour would go on to easily win the bronze medal match, that's not the point. The point is that Ghasempour has too much muscle to be successful, at least at 86 kilos. This might sound a bit off, but you have to understand, Ghasempour was never a small 92 kilo, in fact he was fairly large for the weight class. No doubt he was cutting a non-zero amount of weight to reach 92 kilos, just look at him at 92 kilos last year. At 2024 Worlds, he was just as big as Sadulayev was, and keep in mind, Sadulayev was cutting from 97 kilos. He absolutely dwarfed David Taylor, a natural 86 kilo in their match, so he cut down to 86 was always going to be brutal. And it was. Sure, Ghasempour was shredded to the point you can see his shoulder striations, extraordinary tries from biceps definition, every single muscle on his back in 720p, but all that really meant was that he was starving and dehydrating himself a ton in order to make weight. And when you're cutting, you feel weak. You're slow, you tire far easier than you otherwise, but I can speak from experience with much smaller weight cuts of my own. And Ghasempour was cutting far more than I ever have, and no matter what sports science and dietitians he had to make it easier, he was still feeling the effects and dealing with the consequences of the enormous cut to 86 kilos. While his beard masked it somewhat, you could still see the sunken cheeks on his face that denotes a hard cut. In his matches, at least the ones where he wasn't able to steamroll a substandard opposition, you could see the cut. Against Valencia, the difference between a small 92 kilo being able to healthily cut to 86 kilos and a big 92 kilo depleting himself to a little more than a shell of himself was clear as day. Fact is, Ghasempour will never win a world double title at 86 kilos. A rematch with Kadyrov could very well go the other way, and I don't see him beating Ramazanov. Never in 1,000 years will he beat that version of Valencia. He's simply too large, too big, and can't cut down without weakening himself to such a degree that he cannot beat any other elite wrestlers. He has, to put it bluntly, too much muscle. And the second part of Ghasempour's issues is that he is Iranian. If he were American, Japanese, or wrestling from most other countries, then the solution would be simple. Move up to 92 kilos, and if Yazdani tries to take the spot, beat him in a wrestle-off. But he isn't American or Japanese. He's Iranian. As I alluded to earlier, the getting on the Iranian wrestling national team isn't a strict meritocracy as it is in, say, America with the US Open in the Final X, or in Japan with the Emperors in the Meiji Cup to determine the best wrestler in the country by tournaments. In Iran, the selection of who gets to wrestle is far more opaque, and as far as I can tell, seems to come down to who the higher-ups thinks will do the best. This means that between Hassan Yazdani, Olympic champion, multi-time world champion, and most recently got an Olympic silver, and Kamran Ghasempour, who did get a medal at 86 kilos but failed to medal at the previous year at 92 kilos, Yazdani is the clear choice. Ghasempour must know this. That's why he decided to cut down to 86 kilos, no matter how much the cut affected him. But what other option is there? Going up to 97 means going in versus Azapira, who largely dominated the unbeatable Tasdinov, who was 8 seconds away from winning a world title versus Kyle Snyder. And besides, Ghasempour already tried going up to 97 kilos to qualify for the Olympics, and due to a far better performance by Azapira at the 2024 Zagreb Open, the higher-ups decided on Azapira. Given recent events, there's no reason to think their opinion on the matter would change. So Ghasempour is in a pretty nasty spot. He can't even try to stick to his guns at 92 kilo due to the Iran selection committee favoring their golden boy, and can't go up to 97 kilo due to Iran being good enough at wrestling to have good heavyweight wrestlers. At the end of the day, he's a victim of both UWW's absurd policy of one wrestler per country per weight class and Iran's lack of a meritocratic selection process for their national team. So for the foreseeable future, he's stuck at 86 kilos, a weight class he has too much muscle to wrestle well at. While I think he will continue to find limited success and get world and Asian medals given a favorable bracket path, I don't see him finding the same success at 86 kilos than he did at 92 kilos. And barring somehow being able to return to 92 kilos at the world level, I don't see him capturing world gold ever again.